Welcome to Bushwick, Brooklyn. How's everyone feel about that? Pretty cool? I don't know. It's Halloween, so for some of you, it might seem a little bit out of your comfort zone, and that's okay, because that's actually I think that's important for events like this. It's hard to get in front of an audience or it's hard to just come and meet people face to face in this day and age, and so yeah, I like the adventure and escape, and and actually there's a lot of people that are moving to Bushwick and live here and they call it home, and I'm excited to have them just be like, hey, there's something going on right around the corner for me. That's awesome. So cool. Quick announcements. I just want to thank our sponsors. MailChimp has been awesome. They just re-upped for another year. And seriously, we could not do it without them. We couldn't have these great dinner options. What do you guys think of the Australian meat pies? Pretty good, right? Yeah. Big thank you to Dub Pies for making that happen. And what else? Thank you, Livestream. This place is amazing. It really is. And it was sad to see Third Ward kind of do whatever happened to them. But I think for Livestream also, it was like stepping out of the comfort zone. It must not have been an easy decision to go from being in the same building as Google in Chelsea, where it feels like it's the hot zone, to Bushwick. But I mean, dude, I think it's very forward thinking, and before you know it, this is going to be like Soho. And yeah, who else? Audiokite we have as a sponsor tonight. They're also demoing, and so thank you as well, Alex. And so yeah, I'm just going to kick things off, and we're going to get the ball rolling. We have 5 great demos tonight. I'm Seth Hillinger, by the way. I'm the organizer of this meetup group, and so yeah. First up, we have Tuneteams. We have Ian, and I'll let him take over.
So just show me how to get the thing. Okay.
There it is.
All right, great. Hey, everybody. I'm Ian. I'm the founder of Tuneteams. And right here in the front row, we have Caesar, our CTO, and Julia from our marketing department. And so what we're basically trying to do at Tuneteams is we're creating a business-to-business marketplace for music rights. So what does that mean? Let me start with a question. If I said that record labels often license music to record labels in other countries in order to get local promotion for their music in those countries, how many people would know vaguely what I'm talking about? Okay. Well, not everybody, but pretty good. So basically, the music industry has a very simple deal model where if you're a small label, not a big multinational label, but if you're a small label and you've got a great new album and you think that there's people in other countries besides your home country who would love to listen to that album, and you don't have marketing in these other countries, obviously, because you're a small label. A simple deal structure is called a license deal structure, where if you can find a record label in another country that likes your music and wants to promote your music in that country, you license your music to them, you split the revenue, they probably pay you some kind of advance up front to make sure that you know that they're actually going to go out and market your music. So that's a license. So Tuneteams, where did it come from? I'm really lucky that I've already had a 15-year career in the music business. And for most of the last 5 years, I was running Sony Music in Russia. And while I was there, a lot of small record labels from all around the world were approaching me to say, hey, we've never had a American that we know running a record label in Russia, and it's great to be able to talk to you, and we've got some music that we think Russians would love, and will you please license our music? And as I got more and more of these kind of people contacting me, I said, you know what? This is a marketplace situation. This just tells me that there should be a place on the internet where record labels from around the world can come and find each other and license their music to each other. I also started to realize that this is an issue that's probably going to get more and more important because it's very cheap and very easy, as everyone in this room probably knows, for any artist or record label to get their music on services like Spotify or iTunes all around the world. Digital distribution is cheap and easy now. But actually getting your music noticed in all these countries is much harder. You need to get local promotion in order to get your music noticed on every digital platform. And the best way to do that is licensing. So as we started to think about how to create a B2B marketplace for licensing for music rights, we decided we needed to break it down into two main parts. The first part is let's help people find partners around the world who they might like to work with, so a basic networking tool, something that we call LinkedIn for the music business to make it really easy. And the second part being an actual place where people can put up music licenses for recording rights or publishing rights for auction, something that we call eBay for music rights. And this month, we launched the first part, the LinkedIn for the music business part, and that's what I want to give you guys a quick demo of right now. So again, the main use case that we're focusing on right now is helping people find relevant partners around the world. And I guess you guys can see our homepage here, and it screams search, of course. And you can go right here, and you can start typing in, and you get lots of options. But what's much more interesting is if you use these little buttons here and say, okay, I want to find a partner who has worked with electronic music. We get all of we have so many genres, and we get all these from an API with Echo Nest, which I'm sure everybody knows about Echo Nest. So we're looking for a partner who's worked with electronic music. And we're looking for a partner in the United States. And we need a licensing partner, and we're a record label, so let's find a record label company. And we push search, and we get some results, yay. And we made a little example to show you guys today, a good example of all the functionality. So let me show you guys what a profile looks like. So up here we've got the basic cover image, profile image, and then in here you start to see some of the metadata that we make people fill out in order to make the search engine useful. So here's the country, here's different genres. You can pretty much put in as many genres as you want. Here's a URL you can put in. Basic overview here, just like in LinkedIn, for example. This is a section that we intend to use a lot more in trying to help people find relevant partners. In this section, we are interested in, there are both deal types and countries. So you can see this record label is interested in artist to sign, licensing existing music recordings, whole list of deal types here. And they're interested in doing this in Germany, India, Italy, etc. And that's something we hope to build into both a search engine and some other recommendation engines for people who are looking for partners. Here you can have a list of your main executives in your company. These can also link to profiles. We've got some artists here, obviously big superstars, example artists. And then here, so people can show off some of the music that they've been working with. You're able to pull in embed players from both Spotify and SoundCloud. And finally, a place for music videos from YouTube. So I don't know how I'm doing on time, and I only had 5 minutes, but let me try to, doing okay? Cool. Let me show you guys one other thing. So, by the way, if you're a music industry professional, and I'm going to show you guys, we have lots of different profile types, not just for record labels and music publishers, but for many, many different types of music professionals. If you're in the music industry, you can come, request an invite right here, and we'll send you an invite to set up a profile. Let me log in right now so I can show you the profile setup process. Hopefully this will work. So this is the start of our profile setup process. We've kind of divided all the different profile types that we have into 6 main categories. Artists, which has got like producers and songwriters there. Concerts, which has booking agents and concert promoters there. Record labels, which also has label services. Music publishers, merchandising companies, and management and marketing companies. Let me just create like an artist management company. We'll call it EN Manager. And we'll say I'm in American Samoa. We'll say I'm an artist manager. The next step, basically you create an overview. You can add in your web page. You can create lots of genres that you've worked with. What did I do wrong? Finally, you can choose from deal types. I'm interested in artists to manage it in Albania. And there you go. Quick and easy way to set up a profile. So let me stop there and take questions. The lady first.
So if the company has more than one component to the marketing and management and label services, that's obviously something you consider.
Yeah, so we let each account right now, we let have 2 different profiles. So if you're a artist manager and label services company, you could have both of those profile types under one account. And if you need more, you can always request another account.
Hey, I'm just wondering if you have users on board yet, and if any deals have been made.
So no deals have been made because we're not going to launch the license auction bit until the beginning of next year. We do have some users on board. We just launched a couple weeks ago, but I've been calling all my buddies in the music industry and telling them you have to use this. You have to tell me what you think. And actually, I'm really happy with the response we've gotten so far. We've been talking to some great record labels like K7 in Berlin, and they say, hey, the music industry should have its own networking and deal-making tool.
We're all familiar with the concept of an auction. You mentioned auction.
Yeah.
Critical to having an environment where there is an auction is the anti-auction, sort of like a reverse Dutch auction, where instead of having multiple potential buyers and one seller, you could have one seller and multiple buyers. So when the side that has the multiple is going to compete. On the normal auction, the multiple compete to drive the price up. If you flip those the one and the multiple will compete to drive the price down. So you might want to consider the auction thing, entertaining being able to run it in either direction.
So your idea would be, hey, maybe lots and lots of people have songs that they want to license, and there's only a few people who want to actually market a new album in the month, and so we should let the people with the music to license compete for the marketing resources. Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Sorry, Seth, I did a bad job of repeating the questions. Anyone else? Okay, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah, let's just keep rocking it, right? Next up, we have Alex Mitchell of Audiokite.
To do the preview PDF. Oh, cool. There we go. Awesome. Take this mic here. How's everybody doing? Seth, thanks so much for letting us come up and being sort of a pseudo sponsor. We're going to have a deal going out to everybody in the Meetup group after this, so thank you so much for letting us do that. My name is Alex. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Audiokite Research. What we've created is a research platform that allows and is allowing musicians, independent labels, publishing companies, all sorts of music creators to reach into the mind of the listening public and find out not only what they think, but what they feel. Not only if they would buy a song, but why. Not just what, but where. Our data is giving you context, objective context, on which to base decisions about A&R, decisions about marketing, and we made it in a way that's streamlined and affordable enough to be relevant at the composition, production, and promotion stages. So I would love to show you guys how we did it. It's a pretty photo. So we've curated over 10,000 listeners through eager listeners through a platform called Amazon Mechanical Turk. Amazon Mechanical Turk is a crowdsourcing platform on which about 500,000 people across the world have signed up to do small tasks, so categorizing text or filling out surveys. We send a specially designed survey with a song that plays the song and asks the listener to rate it on a whole bunch of different items, which we'll go over in a second. And we've had over 1,000 hours listened in 30,000 surveys so far. We've only been around for about 5 months. Obviously, you know, for any product like this, there's always skepticism about, well, are these listeners even real? Are they even listening? So we have solved a lot of those problems with technology. We have developed proprietary systems that filter reviewers, reward them for providing quality work, and when we send your song out to the sample, it's going to people who are engaged, who are going to really, you know, listen to it, really give you usable, actionable feedback. That in my personal opinion, is lacking a little bit in some of the ways we promote and make decisions right now. So I'd like to go over a sample report with you for a second. This is a real report. It's also on our website. If you go to audiokite.com, this is what you can see. You can see the interactive version. I might pull it up here afterwards. I don't know. But this is a real report by an awesome band called The Hunting Party. Just saw them at CMJ last week. They're fantastic. And this is for an unreleased song called Chicago. It is in the mixing stage, and I want to show you a little bit of what they learned. So it's interactive when you go on the site, but I sort of chopped it up for this. So you can see just a general rating out of 10. Is this a 1? Is it a 10? How good is it? These guys actually scored in the 95th percentile with a 7.4. Most Billboard 100 top 100 tracks score around an 8. And so we give you a distribution of, you know, how well, like what people actually said. You've got commercial viability, which again cut off here. But how likely would you be to purchase this song, just straight out? Would you recommend it to a friend? Would you attend a live show? Would you seek out more of this? So sync licensing, what genre of film and television do you associate with this song? Right, so imagine when you're submitting a sync opportunity, instead of saying like, we think this song is good because that's my opinion, you can say this song rated really high with an actual audience in romance and drama, which is fitting for this song because it's kind of about two people fall in love and move to Chicago. So song elements. There's a breakdown of what did you think of each of these elements of the song, and you can see here in a real life example, they're beating the average. I mean, this is a really solid track. It's awesome, and the vocal is particularly good. But you can see that in this unfinished mix, the drums and bass are a little bit are actually everything else is beating the average, but this is actually coming below the average. So now they know this. And they can go back to mixing and to recording before it's released and say, maybe this is where we need to punch things up. We also compare you in this graph to the Billboard Top 100 average and the average of all the other songs on Audiokite. Demographics, where is it more popular? Men, women, ages, pretty standard stuff. Map of the United States with this is what people thought. You can get a sort of a bird's eye view of, you know, this is the areas of the country where your song is working, where it isn't. And this is a pretty neat graph that we just added. This is exactly where people drop off listening to your song, because we require them to listen to a certain amount, and we do verify that. And by default, it's 40 seconds, can go all the way up to 8 minutes, depending on the options that you set. And so after, one of the markers of, is this song going to perform commercially is, do people keep listening after they have to? And so, and you can see exactly during the 10-second intervals where they drop off and when, they're losing interest. So if you're doing this during the composition stage, you can actually have the opportunity to go back and maybe change, maybe fix the bridge, right, if you want to, because you're seeing that's when people are dropping off. And finally, like I said earlier, it's not just about what they think. We ask them, what are the feelings, what are the emotions that you had when you heard this song? They select from a pretty extensive list. And we have a word cloud here that shows you, this is what people felt. And then the free response, which is always very popular among our customers, which is, people have the option to write longer open-ended response. These tend to be pretty interesting and tend to be, sort of, you can get into the why, a little bit more of the subjective aspect of a lot of this. So you can probably tell, and you can probably think about, this has a lot of applications, and we're seeing it being applied in a lot of different ways. We're seeing it applied in composition. We got somebody who's uploading, he's really interesting, it's a singer-songwriter, and he's uploading little bits of his song, like the different track elements of it, and then seeing what people come back and say. He's actually writing a whole song kind of based on what the audience says. It's sort of an interesting use case, but some people are using it that way. Production, as we just talked about, I mean, you can see before it goes to mastering, before it's all said and done, what can be what needs to be improved, what can be improved while there's still time. So you're not waiting until after the fact to look at the SoundScan results and say, wait a minute, this didn't work. And then promotion. We're seeing this as an assistance to promotion campaigns to decide, these are the sync opportunities we should submit to. And also, just keep in mind, these are real people who are rating this thing. This is not an algorithm. So what we've seen is this sort of accidental promotion where our listeners are almost using us sometimes as almost like a discovery platform, where they'll often, if they really like the song, if it really resonates with them, they will seek out the music in other channels. I mean, for the hunting party, somebody found them on Facebook and were like, I just heard your song on Mechanical Turk. Please let me know when it's out. I really want to be a fan. And then somebody else did the same thing. So part of our pro option is you can actually include a link to like a landing page or to your Facebook, et cetera, so that if the listeners are interested in learning more about your band, they can find out about it immediately. And we took it one step further. And we're still very early into this piece of it. But I think this is a really interesting path that we're going down, which is we've got our finger on the pulse of some really interesting bands, not from a opinion perspective, but from an actually, when you have a song that goes through our system and 50% of the people, and this has happened, 50% of the people said, yes, I would buy and stream this song, we can identify that, right? And so we're just starting to launch into these opportunities, right, for more geared towards the unsigned independent market. But basically, like, if the listeners and if our sample really thinks that your song is great, we are seamlessly connecting you to, we've got these right now. I mean, MusicBox, you can go out to 10,000 people on an email list if your song gets a 7.5 or above. JTV Digital will release your single for free. And WeSpin is a really cool new education platform for electronic musicians. So if it's not doing too well, we can connect you with the education that might help you actually, make it a little bit better, a little bit more commercially viable. And this is all free. I mean, we're not Taxi, we're not Sonic Bids. Those are fantastic businesses, but this is all we're connecting them seamlessly. We're connecting them without having to, with no middleman there. It's just if our crowd likes your music, if you think it's really solid, you deserve to have opportunities. So one of the things that I'm most proud of with this business, and that I think is one of the reasons why we've been so successful so far, is actually our price point. This is ridiculously affordable. It just is. We've been able to figure out how to get actionable data, really solid sample, for as low as 30 cents to 55 cents per response, right? So we can start out actually at our cheapest report is 50 responses, no targeting, for $15. Actually, as low as 10 with some of the discounts we have in play, including the one that's going to go out to everybody after this. And all the way up to 500 responses with all the bells and whistles is 200. So we've designed this product to appeal both to the garage band. And we are serving garage bands, and we're serving artists who are indie labels. We're serving the labels themselves, and we're serving actually some pretty big guys too, some household names. And so we also have Audiokite Pro, which is a $10 a month subscription that lets us sell the reports essentially at cost. So if you want to upload your entire album or a whole bunch of tracks, we'll send out that report for you at cost for a monthly subscription. So what's next for us? We're very new. We are actually only about 5 or 6 months into this thing, and we have been totally bootstrapped up until now. We are considering funding, so if that's something that you want to talk to me about, come talk to me about that. We've been able to achieve this really awesome balance between being profitable and fair to musicians. Our business model is incredibly simple. We charge a slight premium on each response. That's it. I think that's really important for especially indie unsigned musicians, that we actually really do have the best interest of musicians at heart and the best interest of music creators at heart. And we are looking for more partners. I mean, we've got a lot in the pipeline for our opportunities, but I know there's a lot of people in this room and a lot of people in this meetup who have a vested interest in really, become very good friends with a lot of A&R guys lately who want to see who's coming up, who's really good. So if you have an opportunity for our artists, please get in touch with me. I am alex@audiokite.com. And I don't know how we're doing on time, but questions? Yeah. Cool. Make sure you repeat them. Right. Repeat them.
He's got some questions for Alex. What do you cap it at? Let's say I have a monthly subscription. How many responses can I expect for a song? What's the max?
Sure, sorry. I probably wasn't too clear, sort of blowing through this whole thing. So for the subscription, so you are paying for a report still, but we charge a premium. That premium is reduced significantly with the subscription. So you're still buying a report, you're still buying a certain number of responses, but you're just doing it for much less cost. And it also adds other features. For example, you can add a promotional link. You can download the raw data so that you can run your own analysis. You don't have to rely on our reports, et cetera.
So you talked about the inflow to the A&R guys, but I have a feeling that even more so than artists, record labels would be really interested in finding out exactly how.
And they have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you working with labels and they're kind of feeding out?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of labels that have both from a client perspective and from a who's doing really well perspective. So, yeah, labels very popular with.
Can you go a little bit more on the criteria? How do we select exactly the respondents?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I'm totally not repeating the questions, am I? He asked me, I just am not doing that. It's like, yes, of course I will do that, and then just totally didn't do that. So you asked, can I elaborate a little bit more on the criteria for selecting respondents? So we don't, I think in past systems like this, there's been this barrier. We are very open, and our technology kind of figures out based on how they're responding and how they are reporting on a bunch of different markers. We reward them, so we give them a greater, so a bonus on top of what we're paying for the response initially, right? So as time goes on, and as we've grown our subscriber base, I mean, when we launched, we had about 500 of them. And it took us about a week to get 100 responses. Now we've got over 10,000. That number's growing all the time. It's actually closer to 12. And we can get 100 responses in about, less than an hour a lot of the time. And so criteria-wise, the whole point of this is to find the opinions of actual music consumers, right? Real people who are engaged not because they say they're engaged, but because we can see that they're engaged, right? So the only filter that they opt into is genre targeting. So what kind of genre, what genres of music are you into? So that we can target to just people who like having. That's sort of an obvious thing. Like you should only have your music rated by people who would be buying it in the first place. Yeah. So that answer your question?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
And do
Sure. That's exactly what's happened. Is over time as more, because I mean, with any sort of research like this, you're always going to have some people who are trying to game the system, who are just going through and again, that's sort of what we're obsessed with from the technology standpoint, is figuring out you know, how to really make sure that they are engaged and that they're consistently providing you know, quality feedback. And there's, because you know, we can ban people. I mean, we have, if somebody says, I like every genre of music, and they fill out the survey in 20 seconds. I mean, it's not that hard actually from a technology perspective to see if somebody's actually, you know, engaged or if they're not. I didn't repeat that question either. The question was, thank you, Seth. The question was, are you continually testing the performance of the Billboard Top 100? Sort of, is the best answer I can have there. I mean, we have to license the tracks, obviously. What's up there now is more of a, in the beginning, we tested a whole, when we were testing the system itself before releasing it to the public, when we were building the reviewer base and when we were, you know, just trying to see if this thing even worked, we used the Billboard Top 100 tracks to figure that out. And so a lot of what we've learned about that is from that initial phase. But my guess is as we continue to grow, we'll be doing more of that. So the question was, are all of the options fixed, or do the artists have the option to sort of edit the survey? Is that what you're asking? Yeah. So in the pro option, one of the features that we've added is you can change the question that we ask, so the free response question. Other than that, everything is standardized. And by the way, we didn't just guess on all of this. So we built this by surveying thousands of musicians in the beginning and finding out what was important to them. You know, what is it that you really want to learn from a research product? And so we built our survey and we built this standardized report from those responses. So we're actually a research company that used research to help you do research. And that was the last question. Cool. Thanks so much.
Good job, Alan. Okay, very cool. Yeah, so next up we have Jason Herskowitz demoing Tomahawk, which he is actually a veteran. This, I think, is his second time demoing, and he's also spoken to the group before. Jason, by the way, I was going through the RSVPs today, and you can see, you know, when the person joined the Meetup group, and you're definitely at the top of the list of like 2010. So thanks for your long-standing membership. But yeah, excited to see how your product has evolved, and yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that's a pain in the ass, and I've got a bunch of my own stuff I need to set up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. All right, I'm going to pull this over. So, as Seth said, he's been nice enough actually to let me come up here a couple times, if not three, and talk about Tomahawk. So Tomahawk is an open source project I've been involved with about 4 years. And about once a year, I stick my head out of their hole and say, hey, Seth, can I come by and show everybody what we've been doing? It's been probably a year and a half since our last release. So we've been working on a lot of stuff. And I wanted to kind of show you it. But before I do, I'll tell you, for those of you that don't know, a little bit about what Tomahawk is. So Tomahawk is what we call a multi-source music player. It originally was on desktop, OS X, Windows, and multiple flavors of Linux. I'm going to show you that as well as Android now as well. And what a multi-source music player is, it's got plugins for lots of different services, streaming services, paid streaming services like Spotify and Beats, free promotional services like SoundCloud, Jamendo, Official FM, People can write plugins for basically any service that has an API. And so what it does is enables you to plug in and log into all these different services that you may have. And primarily what it does is it allows you to aggregate music that may be spread across multiple services. But kind of at its core, it's fundamentally different than the way most music players that you think of work. And what it does is it decouples the metadata of the song from the source, and then we'll reassemble it or find the best match based on that metadata for that person at that time in that territory based on whatever services they have access to. So what that does is essentially create a translation layer and an interoperability layer across all of the different services that people may use. And that's a lot of what these examples I'll show you are all enabled by the fact that all Tomahawk needs is the name of a track, an artist, and maybe an album. And then it, for me, will say, find me the best version of that song and play it. So I'll show you what's going on here. So the first thing we had with Tomahawk on desktop is a major redesign, which was very much long overdue. So I shall show you what's going on here. Did we just lose the screen? It was a second ago, right? It's up here, I swear. It flickered. There it is. You're good. Okay. I don't have it down here, but hopefully you guys can see it here. So, okay, great. So Tomahawk on the desktop. So I'm obviously running Mac. But what you'll see, and I'll show you just kind of the high-level stuff, and then show you some of the cool use cases you can do. So it looks like a music player. Cool. It has your local collection if you have local MP3s still. I actually have very few. I actually deleted all of my MP3s about 2 years ago and have not looked back. But you've got your collection, as you would assume. You can dig down and play any of your local tracks, which is, as would be expected. That's kind of the least interesting thing, at least in my opinion, and the guys that are watching from the team are probably saying otherwise. But you have the ability to, because we can just operate off of metadata, we can pull charts from lots of different services, right? So the Billboard, top 200, or if you just want to check out the Talk Rock albums, or you want to check out what's iTunes in Ireland, what's hot, and essentially what you have is you can come through here and basically for every track, for every album, what you'll see happening here as it goes from gray to black is it is essentially what we call resolving. So for every track in that album, it's looking up what the best available source is for it, and then you can play it. And here are other matches for it, but it will default to 1. So I can play that. If I wanted to pick a different source, I can pick a different source. You guys can't hear this, but it's theoretically playing. It is. So this track is actually playing from Beats. If I hit next, this is actually streaming from a different computer. And so you can dive in, obviously, and get everything you would expect. In a media player, you've got an artist page with discography, top art, top album, top hits, kind of everything that you would expect. Related artists, you can actually dive into related tracks if you wanted, if it finds them. You can listen to a whole playlist of tracks related to that. This leverages APIs from everybody, right? Echo.Nest, Last.fm, Discogs, MusicBrainz, like anybody that's get data on music, we are basically leveraging it to be able to pull in all of this various data. To that point, you can go and you can create a station that does all kinds of stuff, and this is really exercising the Echo.Nest APIs. So this is a station based on 3 artists, but if I wanted to come in here and say, I want indie rock with a song hotness, this is the Echo.Nest term of at least this, and I want to add another parameter and say, the mood is aggressive or epic, or it may not find anything for some of this stuff. And you can dive down into all kinds of stuff here, right? If you want songs on the key of C, indie rock, aggressive, you can create a station for that, and it'll go ahead and play all that stuff. Obviously, playlists as you would expect. Some of the cool stuff I want to show, one is some of the social bits we've got in here. So you can connect to friends via Gmail and Jabber. Once you connect to friends, you'll see them show up here. You can look at their library, their collection, their playlists, anything you want. My favorite thing about this is you see here, Chris is actually listening to something, and I can listen along by just clicking that. And now I'm listening to the song he's listening to. They could be playing from the same source. They could be playing from different sources. He might be streaming from Spotify, and when I click listen along, for me, it may stream from Beats. And if I lock on there, when he skips the track, I'll skip the track. The other kind of cool stuff in here is we've got some new, let me just show you real quick. So here's all the plugins, right? Local network, you can see other machines on the network. Hatchet, I'll talk about that a little bit in a second, but Google, Jabber, and then Spotify, SoundCloud, Last.fm, GrooveShark, Ampache, Subsonic. So if you're running a music server at home, cloud lockers like Google. So we got Google Music. So here's my entire, I can browse all the tracks that are in my Google Music locker and stream them directly from there. What else do we have? We've got Beats. There's a YouTube resolver. Like I said, people can write resolvers for everything, anything, Bandcamp. And then the fun stuff, in my opinion, or really for me, as somebody that's totally addicted to Twitter, and I follow people whose tastes that I enjoy, is I can do stuff like I can drag a Beats link, and then I can drag a Spotify link, and then I can drag a SoundCloud link. I mean, that's a Spotify link, sorry. I can drag, let me do this. Like Deezer, you can't even see the page here in the US, but I got some of these links here real quick. I dragged the whole, actually I dragged the whole album there on one of those links. And Deezer, let me find Deezer. So I can get a Deezer track, right? And so now, you see it looked up all those, and I can play through these, and they'll play from the best available source for me. Some other couple things real quick. I'll skip that. This is kind of old, but it's fun. And again, it's all based on the concept of you just need metadata. This is a little bookmark that we did a while ago. So this is Pitchfork's Best New Tracks. I can click this. It scrapes the track info out of the page, and then I can send this with this click. And it will create a Tomahawk version of this playlist real quick, or not real quick. I'll come back to that. But what you can do is you can scrape basically any page and then hit a button and say send it to Tomahawk, and it'll send that track list into Tomahawk, and then again find the best available source for you. So there's the one. And then let me skip all of this. I think that's, let me make sure. Oh, here's something fun, real quick. So this is kind of old school, but if you guys like Last.fm, we support a playlist standard format called SPIF, XSPF. And again, really it's just about metadata, but you can import playlists recently played based on Last.fm profile. So this is, I like to use this because he's a big shot investor, but Fred Wilson is a big music fan. And if I paste in, this is a URL for Last.fm. You can't really see it, but this is for his recently played tracks. So he's listening to using whatever. I don't know. He could be using Sonos. He could be, and I can import that. And then it's going to pull all of Fred Wilson's recently played tracks, and then it's going to check for updates regularly, and I can listen to whatever Fred Wilson's listening to, and he doesn't even know it. So that's real. That was that fun stuff. And then I want to show you actually mobile, which is brand spanking new. So let me do this. How am I doing, Seth? Am I right? Getting wrong? Okay, sorry. Sorry. I can go forever, unfortunately, and just kick me off. So is that up there? Can you guys see anything on there? Right on. So this is brand new. I'm going to come down here so I can see. Oh, it's not going. Oh, he might not get it. thinking about it. No. Damn you. Try one more time. If it doesn't work, then you guys, I can just give you the link and you can download it and play with it. There we go. Cool. So Android, and it does basically all the same stuff. It uses all of the same plugins. It's got some stuff here real quick. Again, the beautiful thing about Android actually is instead of me having to drag and drop stuff, on Android you can set the default URL handler for lots of links. So when I click on a Spotify link in Twitter, it will ask me, do you want to use Tomahawk to open this? And I'll say, yeah. And it will open it using Tomahawk and then play it from beats for me. The other stuff, you've got your same collection, same everything else, all your favorites. It will sync all your playlists from your desktop using a Hatchet account, which I didn't really talk about. And then it's got a little bit of social stuff starting to show up in here. And these are people that I follow, and I can listen to their tracks. And I can check this out, and I can go to the artist page, and I can check out all the stuff on the artist page. And so that's it. It's basically all the same kind of concept. And again, it all is just the idea that when you just operate on metadata and then find the right source for the right user at the right time, you can do all kinds of cool shit that you could never do before. So that's it. Any questions? Yeah. Any opportunity for us to bring our product to Sonos? I would love to. We've looked a little bit at kind of some of their documentation. I'm a huge Sonos fan. I'm not a huge fan of their desktop software. I would love to. So actually at my house, I've got a total hack set up where I've got like airfoil connecting to an iPad connected to a Sonos line in, and then I run it. You know, it's a total kind of nerd's dream. But yeah, it's that, Chromecast support, kind of standard UPnP, DLNA support, device support. We all kind of on the plan, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
You said several times every time you click the link, it will try and find the best source for you. What's the criteria there? Is that like
Yeah.
what subscription services streaming you have, or is it quality?
Yeah. So the question was, how do we determine what the best source is? And so there's a bunch of stuff in there. I mean, we currently base everything just off of text string matches in terms of how close the result is to what you're asking for. And then in terms of what result is prioritized, there's an internal weighting to each of the plugins. And generally the way it works is the subscription, premium subscription services are weighted higher than like the free stuff. Like SoundCloud, I love SoundCloud, but their metadata is a total mess, right? And so we'll always, if you've got a subscription service, we'll try that generally first. They're all kind of weighted the same. In the future, we'll allow you to kind of choose what the priority is on that. Cool. Any other questions? Yeah. Hold on. So if there was an opportunity to build a cool feature or product that doesn't exist based on... So if you were able to create, you're accessing Echo. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're attaching yourself to their metadata. Yeah. If there was metadata that isn't available right now that you would like to have. If there was a metadata source available that we would like to have that we don't have, I would... I think in terms of the standard data, we're pretty covered. There's some stuff that I would love to get. Like I've made a little hack that allows you to type in your username for Pandora or the email used for Pandora, and then it tries to recreate all your stations you have in Pandora and Tomahawk, which is super hacky, but kind of cool. I wish that was a little bit more open. I wish Google's API was a little bit more open. A lot of these guys haven't opened it up, and so we haven't really been able to do much with it. RDO and Deezer we can do in the Android app because they've got mobile SDKs. We can't do it on the desktop app yet because they don't have desktop SDKs. So there's like every service. I want every service really, and I think the market's so fragmented now that it's needed because if you use RDO and I use Spotify, we can't really communicate effectively about music, and I think it's stagnating the whole market. I think everybody's kind of stuck. The analogy I always make is imagine if your email app only could send emails to other people that use the same app and the same mail service provider. Like that's the state of subscription music today, which is ridiculous. So that's kind of what we're trying to change. Yeah, Drew.
How does brands feel about you mashing their data together to give you feedback on that?
Not a lot. I mean, everybody knows, that I think everybody, I've been kicking around the space long enough that everybody kind of knows what we're up to. And, there is, the only kind of thing I ever say about interoperability in general is everybody wants interoperability except for whoever the leader is in subscription music because they view it as lock-in. But that leader is going to continually change, in my opinion. So whoever the leader is today won't necessarily be the leader tomorrow. So I think over time, SMS gateways, like it had to happen until SMS actually became a real business. Like that interoperability had to happen before people actually started subscribing to SMS. So that's my view. Cool. Thank you.
So, how's everyone doing? I was really just curious how everyone was doing. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I try to think about something to some analogy to share with the audience. The analogy I was going to share was I play stickball. Okay, that's kind of weird. Most people don't know that, but I'm in a stickball league in Brooklyn. I've been doing it for 6 years. It's very secretive, and most of the time we're just out there having fun. You show up to a match, and you get put on a team. But then comes fall, and the fall classic comes around, and it gets serious. And so like during the whole year, I can hit the ball so well. I hit that sweet spot. And it's kind of like golf or baseball, where like you swing and the ball just goes flying, right? But then along comes the fall classic, and things get serious, and I can't hit. I don't know what's wrong, and so it's just practice. And yeah, I don't know. I see that with the MusicTech community too. Everyone's out there trying to hit the ball. It's fun. That's why we do it. It's a great data to play with, and we just have to keep trying to hit that sweet spot. And some people like hit it quick. Some people it just takes a little more practice. I don't think it's like a good or a bad thing, or right or wrong. It's just you just have to be in the game, and yeah, I mean. Good analogy is that we have Shannon in the audience. Is she still here? Maybe she left. I don't know. She posted her product on Product Hunt this week. She came up with the idea, and then a day later put it on Product Hunt, and like kaboom, like everyone's into it, and now she's got like this new service that she gets to run with, and whereas like the startup that I'm working on, I've been doing for a year, and it's still like underground, and I'm just like, oh man, when am I going to actually have something to show to my own Meetup group? But I don't know. That's my quick little story. Let's go. Next up, we have Sparkplug. Sparkplug.it? Sparkplug? Okay, great. We have Julia and Jennifer, right? Okay, awesome. Here we go.
If I stand here, can you guys? Those are on. Okay, yeah. I feel like we're cuddling a little bit, but it's going to be okay. Hi, guys. Thank you so much, Seth, by the way. He's talking while I'm talking, but it's okay. I'm Julia. I'm one of the co-founders of Sparkplug, and this is Jennifer, one of my lovely co-founders who's driving. Do we have musicians in the room or just MusicTech people? Musicians in the room. Okay, great. So this is really for you. Sparkplug is the first community marketplace for musicians and artists to rent one another their instruments and their gear and their space. So the easiest way to think about it is it's like Airbnb for musicians and their stuff. So some of you know this, but being a musician is pretty expensive. You know, you basically accumulate your gear and your instruments, and you rent your studio time, and you rent your rehearsal space. And as soon as you hit the road, you basically can't bring a lot of that stuff with you. And if you're making a record, you ultimately end up needing new stuff beyond what you own. So the way that people have typically solved this problem is that they tap into rental warehouses. They're also called backliners, so I may use those two terms interchangeably. But over the years, backliners have kind of like owned this business, but it's an extremely antiquated model. It's super like decentralized, I guess is the word that I would use, in that there's sort of one major purveyor, but they're only in 13 major markets. And then kind of you go to Milwaukee and you do a Google search, and good luck if you're gonna find an independent backliner who has exactly what you need. So they also require a lot of very large deposits up front, so it prevents a lot of bands from interacting with them. So we had this epiphany at Sparkplug when you started to see the advent of these community marketplaces like Airbnb or Uber, and the trust mechanisms that started to come into place that allowed people to transact with one another. And the truth of the matter is that there are instruments and there is gear, amps, microphones, compressors, and there's rehearsal space and studio space all over the world in the hands of all of these musicians. So basically, we created a platform where the people who need to rent can reach the people who have the things that they want to rent from all over the world. And it's especially nice and especially symmetrical because I think, as many people know, musicians are always looking for an additional income stream. And your Fender Strat might be with you out on your session or out on your next tour, but in between those moments, it's often sitting in a corner in your bedroom. So it kind of allows the two things to function quite nicely. So we connected the dots, and that's how Sparkplug was born. So that's kind of it, and I'd love to take you through the site. This is our homepage. You guys have been seeing our featured listings kind of cycle through. And I think we should start at the very beginning by creating a listing. So normally there are some lovely photos here, but maybe let's do a little reload. Let's reload. We're just having a little internet issue. Okay, so anyway, we'll scoot to, this is an actual listing just so that we don't have to actually fill out these forms with you guys. So it's actually the profile of one of our co-founders. Title and description, super self-explanatory. I can look down here, I guess. I don't need to look up there. Same with your category, which makes things, that much more searchable. In case you're putting in Martin acoustic, we also have guitar. And then one thing we're particularly proud of is this is sort of the start of the story on transparency with us. So you've got this mandatory condition field. You have to fill it out, and there's normally a nice little, Jen just deleted it. So there's a nice little prompt that says, transparency is everything. Make sure that you and your renter are on the same page when they show up to pick up the listing. And we try to kind of maintain that attitude every step of the way. And then if we move to listing details, you can see that's our office address, but that map is what we show the public. So you're never revealing your address until you have a confirmed listing with someone. You set your pricing. It's pretty self-explanatory again, but the one field that I'd love to point out, in addition to the day rate is required, but then you can also build in things like your weekly or your monthly. And this value of listed item, that is a required field. So what ends up happening is you fill that in, and then as soon as you have a rental request, we take 30% of that money and we charge it to the renter's card. And then we retain the right to bill up to the entire amount of what you've stated here. So that's kind of how we protect you throughout the process. Delivery. So basically all through this component, you can add on services. So you can say, I'd like to provide a delivery for this fee. I'd love to do setup for this fee. If you are renting out a PA system and you happen to be a sound engineer, you can provide your engineering services on an hourly or on a daily basis. You can also add in things like stands or strings or an extra XLR cord. And then it's up to the renter to decide what they want to tap into, and then it's all part of their order at the end of the game. Okay. She made changes. This is the I mean, this is very self-explanatory, right? But one thing I'll point out is that you can enter your own unavailable dates, and then if you book something through the system, we automatically block out those days so that you're not going to get a reservation request for a previously booked period.
I just did that.
I know. She just did that. Okay. So, and then photos, you need to put up actual photos of your actual gear. So another step in the transparency process. So your renter knows exactly what they're getting. They show up, there are no surprises, and you as an owner know what's going out the door so that should anything, God forbid, go wrong, there's a record and everything is great. And that's what this is our sort of draft listing looks like. All right, should we search? We're gonna search for something. Okay, why don't we search for a Martin guitar, because that's what I play, in Brooklyn, New York. Okay, that guy. All right, so this is what the listing looks like from the outside in. That's me, because this is a demo and we're gonna request that, so we're gonna request it from me. Description, condition is part of that, availability. You can see that's booked, so we won't check that or we won't request that. I mean, if you were to go to location, you'd see it would just be a bubble. And then there's this Facebook connectivity, which allows me to see that we have 165 friends in common. It makes me feel extra secure about renting, and it makes my owner feel extra secure about renting to me. All right, let's do it. November 21st to 23rd. Great. All right, so we request the item. You can use my Visa, and boom. And I got a text message. So this just asked me, this might be a little bit confusing for you guys because we just requested my own guitar, but I, as the owner, just received a text message letting me know that I have a reservation request. And that's it. It's really that simple. So, questions, I think. Your hand went up crazy fast.
How much are you guys taking from this transaction?
We take a... Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, Jen will not allow me to not repeat the question. I will just let you guys know. How much are we taking from this transaction? We take a percentage on both sides. So on the owner's side, we keep it as low as we possibly can. We just pass on our payment gateway fee. We run all of our transactions through Braintree, which does Airbnb, Uber, all of the kind of like big marketplace communities. We just pass it on. We want our owners to keep their instruments and their equipment and their space in our system to feel safe and like we provide value. On the renter side, we charge a percentage ranging between 6 and 12%, and that's inversely proportional to the transaction. So if you're gonna go into a state-of-the-art studio for a month, you're gonna be billed a 6% fee, but if you go and rent maracas on a Thursday for 2 hours, it'll be 12%. Okay, so he complimented our supply of guitars, thank you very much, and asked how long we've been live and how we are acquiring listings. The answers to those things are we've been live since June. We did a public soft launch then, and we've been doing a lot of honestly, our users are coming in a variety of different ways. We initially began with me cold calling studios, also reaching out to a lot of friends. We're all, 3 out of 4 of our founders are in the, I just held up before, but I meant to do this. 3 out of 4 of the founders are in music, so we kind of went and messaged everybody and said, please, test out the site, tell your friends. And so we had a fair amount of listings come that way, but then beyond that, I just started calling people. I started calling studios who have inventory, that's sort of the workhorse inventory that they keep around for sessions. And they don't use all the time. So there are a lot of people that ended up posting that way. Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of just shaking hands and kissing babies. and some Google. And actually, you know what? We had a lot of like great reaction to unexpected press. So we had a couple of articles come out on Pace and on Digital Music News, and that drove a fair amount of listings for us and just traffic across the site. Yes. So the way that we handle all the liability issues right now is entirely through the deposit structure. So eventually we will get to a place where we're gonna start to offer different insurance possibilities, but right now we have you set a value on your item. We make sure that we have the ability to go back and take care of it if anything goes wrong. And you know, like we encourage, that 30% really, I think more than anything, encourages good behavior. But beyond that, we have the ability to bill for the entire amount if someone were to walk away from, you know, walk away with it. Yes.
Well, do you have a way to kind of verify the value that people are putting on their equipment or deal with like false damage reports?
So the question is, do we have the ability to verify the value of equipment and deal with false damage reports? We've been really lucky in that we've had no claims yet. But I mean, I should actually just maybe pat ourselves on the back a little bit because I don't think it's just luck. I really think that a lot of these steps encourage good behavior. Having said that, I'd look at the process a little bit like an insurance company deals with claims. I mean, you could go to your insurance company and say that you've got, you know, a $50,000 Cartier watch in your safe and then someone broke in. If you don't have, like, the photos provide proof, first of all. You know, we also have mechanisms in place. So, like, if you go and you pick up a rental, for instance, and you show up and the rental is, let's say it's a Martin, it's listed as a Martin D12, which is a several $1,000 guitar. You get there and it's a Yamaha made in 1992. And you don't want to rent it, or you don't want to be responsible, I guess I should say, for any inconsistencies in the listing. We have a process that's very similar to like a Zipcar, where you send us a note or you can call us and you just say, hey, inconsistencies in the listing. I'm going to walk with it. I'm going to keep my rental in place. But so we don't open ourselves up to the possibility that someone's going to make a claim for something that's not real. Does that make sense? You guys want to duke it out? Yeah. The question was, do we have a review process similar to Airbnb? And the answer is yes.
Are you going to go international, multi-language, and things other than music instruments?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was considering my response. Are we going to go beyond the U.S. and multi-language, and are we going to expand beyond music? We are already in multiple countries, so they're mostly English-speaking countries, although Hungary kind of clamored to get on board here, so we turned it on. That's no joke. We had 2 separate people email us from Hungary and ask us to turn on functionality. But so we allow you to list and transact in the Eurozone, Canada, New Zealand, the UK, obviously the US. Am I missing anyone? Australia. I hit New Zealand, not Australia. So yes, the answer is like we'd love to be worldwide, and then language functionality will come later when we've grown a bit because we're still fairly young. And then in terms of other verticals, I think that that's very much on our radar, but we would need to maintain our focus on the artistic community. So right now we have the ability to list cameras and lenses, but it's not our focus. We want to really prove ourselves to the musicians who are on our site now. And then, you know, we'll see what happens. If we can be beneficial to artists in other mediums, then I think we'll go for it. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry, that was supposed to be the last. Okay.
How does the person renting get it?
So, sorry, how does the person renting get the equipment? Before, when we were going through this process in the listing and add-on services area, delivery was one of the things that you could specify. So basically, it's up to you. When you're evaluating your options, you've got that page of Martins, right? I offer delivery. You might choose to go with me because I offer delivery, or you might decide that, you know, it's not worth it to you to pay the extra cost. Or we've got actually a fair few renters who offer delivery for free. Personally, I don't totally understand it, but that's fine. That's their choice. So yeah, it's again, like it's just very much a marketplace. So you can tap into what you want to pay for. All right, thank you so much, you guys.
You're also part of Women in Music, is that right? Just to plug. Oh, okay. Jenna.
Vice president, actually.
Okay. Do you want to give a plug to that real quick?
Yeah, Women in Music. Women in Music is a nonprofit organization. We've been around since 1985. We have over 800 members, most of which are in New York, and we do events 2 to 3 times a month. It's a $50 annual fee. You also get access to everyone in our group via Google Group. So if you're looking for a contact at a certain label, people post job opportunities, gigs. It's a really, really great network of men and women that do all kinds of different events around New York, and actually regional now also in San Francisco, Nashville, Southeast Asia, and DC. We have activities going on. So you're welcome to find me after or go to womeninmusic.org. Thanks, Seth.
You're welcome. All right. Okay. We have one last demo, then we get to hang out, have drinks. Thanks for doing such a great job of repeating questions. The reason why I've been a bit of a stickler is that we have like 30 or 40 people watching us live. So that's like, yeah. So, yeah, thanks to everyone out there, and wish you could be here. All right, so finally we have Eric from Fanum. Yeah, come on up. Come on down. Here you go.
So I'm Eric, the founder of Fanum, and what we're doing is democratizing the music discovery process. So my background is I spent 5 years in A&R at Sony Music, and what I realized was by the time we really got an artist, we wanted to sign them and really promote them, there had been a trail of 100, 200, 300 super fans that really got on board with an artist early on, that promoted them themselves and really got them to the point of where they're at. And I believe that there should be a structure and a platform in place where these tastemakers can actually be spotlighted and recognized for what they find. So here we have a sample tastemaker page, obviously myself, and what we really wanted to do differently was record exactly when someone found an artist and where in line they fell, because we believe that these are the two real metrics that define a tastemaker, right? So it's not about jumping on the bandwagon late after an artist blows up or finding an artist that nobody's heard about. It's about finding someone, being on early, promoting them, and watching them grow, and in return, watching yourself as a tastemaker grow as well. So on Fanum, we have this new metric called a headphone, where we record all these things. So I was the 7th person to headphone Lyle, 2nd person to headphone Daniel Line, and what we do is for every tastemaker, we keep track of these things, and throughout finding finding artists and placing our headphones on artists, we are able to generate a buzz score. So the buzz score is pretty much based off of the how recent you found an artist. So we want to be relevant in our buzz score. So if you found an artist 3 months ago, that kind of flushes out of the buzz score, and it only really calculates the headphones that have been placed in the past month. And from here, you're able to jump through to different artists. You're able to check out other tastemakers that have also found this artist, and you're able to find people whose music you align with and you agree with, and across all different kinds of genres, across different regions and even countries now. And we've been in private beta since late January, so we've been really just invite only so far because we really want to build out this initial crop of artists that we have on the site. So all the artists on Fanum currently have been brought on by our tastemakers. So it's not an open invite yet. It's more of tastemakers nominating artists that they really believe in, putting their name next to them, and then sharing them with other tastemakers and so on and so forth, building it out. Now, a feature that we just released today is this leaderboard. So what we want to do is create an aggregate of all the artists that everybody's been finding and give everybody access to it. So right now, the process of finding artists and sharing them within the Fanum platform is in private beta, but this chart of all the artists throughout a week and is available to everyone. So anybody can go to Fanum, check out this roster of artists, and the way that they're chosen is every week a tastemaker chooses to nominate the artist that they want for any given week. Anybody can go ahead and upvote an artist. I'm logged in so I can. If you don't have an account, all we ask is that you log in through Facebook just so we can keep from people upvoting 50 times for an artist. And yeah, this is pretty much the Discovery app and the experience that we've put together so far. So yeah, just wanted to breeze through the demo and just go straight into QA. So if anybody has any questions. Yes?
Do you hear awards, folks, like if I discovered Michael Jackson, I was like the first guy to discover him way back when, and then he blew up, do I get like balloons or something?
Okay. No. Good question. So for all of our artists right now, oh, I'm sorry. So if I was the first to find Michael Jackson, do I get, what was it, reward?
Does your site reward folks for discovering somebody, like being the first finder or whatever?
Right. So for us, all of our artists at the time of coming on, we verify that they're still independent. So there's no major label artists that have been brought on. Now there's some that have joined major labels since being brought on to Fanum, but we're about music discovery, so we want all of our artists to be independent at the time that they come on, and if they happen to get signed, great. Like we're working on the next step of what that process looks like as well. But yeah, for us, it's about new music, so only independent artists right now. So unfortunately, you can't first find Michael Jackson today. No, it's all good. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missed this explanation, but how do you get invited as a tastemaker, or do you screen their,
So for right now, we're pretty much, it's not so much about like an exclusive club. It's about, we just want people that are going to be active that have a profile of finding music. So whether you have a SoundCloud or Spotify or whatnot, we have a, let me sign up. We have a request and invite process where you can go ahead, so request an invite, just your name, your email, if you want to be a tastemaker or artist, and just a description, whether you send us your SoundCloud profile or if you have a management company and you manage artists or whatnot. We just want people that are going to be active versus having an entire roster of users that just sign up once and aren't really doing anything. And once we build up that initial base of content, we absolutely plan on opening it up to the general public for anybody to come on board. Anybody else? Yes? Good question. Yeah. So before we had this leaderboard, it was hard to get to the tastemakers and to the artists. Like it was through them posting on Twitter or their Facebook pages. But we created this so you can quickly jump through. Right. So I'm logged out right now, but I can go ahead and just click on the head and the heart, and I can go ahead, see all their songs in their profile. I have unlimited reign to jump around to different tastemakers and so on and so forth. And I can also do the same for tastemakers. I can go ahead and click them. I like Lyle Davinsky. Let me see what else Mikey really likes. And if I want to check out Mikey as well, I can see everything that he's found. The thing is we don't have you can't follow. Well, you can have an account of following tastemakers until you have an account yet, just because we have no way of keeping record of that. But there are ways right now to just go through the loop of finding new music for sure. Anybody else? Oh, I didn't repeat any questions.
Yeah, you can find Eric afterwards if you have more questions.
All right, great. Thank you.
Short and sweet, guys. Thank you. All right, that's it. So a couple of quick announcements. Let me have Daniel from Livestream come up here. He definitely deserves something. And then if any of you have announcements, yeah, feel free to stand up after Daniel and share it with the group.
Thanks, Seth. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, so much for coming. It's really lovely to see this room filled. I just wanted to introduce myself really quickly. My name is Daniel Pacheco. I'm the general manager here at Livestream Public, which is this space that we're all sitting in that we all trekked across the city to get to. Livestream Public is a branch, a division of Livestream.com. And the idea behind this space is that when we moved here, which was Memorial Day weekend, early June, when we moved here from the Google building, we were really excited about A, moving into the neighborhood and utilizing the space, but B, also kind of helping foster and develop the tech community here in Bushwick. And so part of that initiative has been kind of reaching out and to event organizers like Seth and Meetup organizers for groups and meetups that align with our interest in technology, music, hardware. So we've been hosting a plethora of meetups over the last month. Tomorrow, for example, we're hosting a iOS developers meetup. Next week, a UX meetup, and hopefully more music and technology meetups down in the future. Anyway, we're also interested in content to stream and to host here that might be compelling to watch online. So we've actually been hosting a fair amount of music performances. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys some context. Thank you guys again for coming here. And if any of you guys are clamoring to host your own meetups and are looking for a space, please either chat with me afterwards or just look us up online at livestream.nyc and email the contact information. All right, thank you.
I saw, by the way, that Primus is streaming tomorrow on Livestream. That's like an old favorite of mine. Any announcements? Hey, I know Ian wants to share something.
We're looking for a senior Ruby on Rails developer to join our team. So if anybody has a friend with that kind of skill set, please come get my card. Thanks.
Anyone else? Yeah? No? Yeah? Yeah? Come on up.
If anybody loves open source and is an iOS developer and wants to work on Tomahawk iOS, we pay $0, but it's a lot of fun.
I love Zero. Alex.
Hey guys, I run a music intelligence as a service, so if you're familiar with Econest, definitely a competitor. Going out to San Francisco for the SF MusicTech Summit next week or 2 weeks. But in the meantime, we're reaching out to Rdio, Google, Spotify. Well, actually, we're good with Rdio. Spotify, Google, Beats, everyone. So any contacts in the music streaming service, if anyone has that, awesome. Second, I'm running a meetup called the Bullseye Meetup. It's based off of Gabriel Weinberg from DuckDuckGo's book on traction. So his classic statement out of the book is almost every failed startup had a product. What they didn't have is enough customers. So he created a framework of how to go after and get traction. So that's going to be on November 7th. Gabe is coming up to New York City. He's going to speak about his book and about traction.
And you shared a copy with me, and I'm actually reading it right now and really enjoying it. So I recommend Traction for sure. Anyone else? Should we get to hanging? Good? Okay. Thanks, everyone.